Welcome to Legacy of Love podcast, a place where we ignite a life of magic. Here we follow the footsteps of the earth's wisdom, our body's rhythm, and visionary leaders weaving a renaissance of love. I am your host, Asherah Miriam Rose. Let's dive right in. Hello and welcome everyone on the Legacy of Love podcast. I'm so excited to be here with you all, and actually this is the very first episode I'm recording on video with this beautiful woman I have here with me. So honored.
Thank you.
And her name is Anabel Vizcarra. She is a womb shamaness and embodiment mentor with over 17 years of experience. She mentors leaders to reconnect to their inner source of wisdom for conviction and faith. And Anabel's body of work is a synthesis of womb shamanism, gene keys, lineage traditions, Ayurvedic medicine, quantum physics, psychotherapy, and eco-epigenetics. And we know each other since almost 10 years?
I think over maybe 10, 11 years. Yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I can attest to this woman being amazing. So
Thank you. That's
yes,
so sweet.
yes.
Likewise.
And yeah, it's such a joy and honor to have her here today and to bringing the Legacy of Love podcast on video. And I feel like you are midwifing this new expression. So thank you for being here.
Thank you. Yes, what an honor. What an honor to help you birth this next phase in the evolution of your legacy of love. So thank you for that to start with. And also, we didn't coordinate our outfits. It just happened.
Yes.
Because we are the legacy of love.
Exactly. And
so, here we are.
And we love pink.
Yes.
And all the different shades of pink.
Absolutely. The 50 shades of pink.
Right. I was literally just thinking that. Like, should I say it? Or
Right. Why not?
Yeah. And well, I would love to start in weaving in, and I know this is like a huge topic and transmission, but actually speaking about womb shamanism a little bit, and how, like, what does it mean even to be a womb shamaness?
Wow.
and again, you know, I feel like there are many people and many labels, and at the end of the day we don't even want to like get too attached to these labels. But if I think of someone truly being a womb shamaness, I feel like it's you with everything that you carry. And also Anabel is from Mexico, so she really carries that lineage deeply. And yes. Sharing the mic.
Share the mic. We are sharing the mic.
Yeah, we're sharing the mic.
Thank you for that. And you are right in the sense of it's so much. It encompasses so much. And again, I think it speaks to the nature of woman. We are so many different spectrums of what woman is, right? And faces and all of these things. But if we were to kind of narrow it down and bring it into something that's more digestible, I would say really womb shamanism is a return, a remembering of an ancient path that was of the medicine woman, the original medicine woman. And so that's it's almost like this wisdom that comes alive and that we work through many different avenues, but it takes us back as it moves us forward, and it takes us deeper and it takes us higher, and all coalesces in the womb, which is the origin, the point of creation, you know, the point where spirit steps into form. So I really feel like this is a superpower of women, our birthright to be medicine woman by birth. And the medicine woman births the child, but the medicine woman also births a lot of creative projects. And so it's the remembrance of this power that we hold literally between our legs, right? In the cradle of our pelvic chalice. And what we are doing is remembering, wow, this is the unseen world that holds me in all of the ways, in order for me to really bring in those dreams, my imagination, the foresight, all of these things as gifts to my community, as gifts to the world, in a very physical, tangible way. And so I would say that that's like a little snippet of what that is, and then how is a whole other.
And I was gonna ask that next. How do you do that?
Right. Yeah.
Wow. Oh my God, that was just really touching. Like, such an incredible and eloquent description and transmission of this frequency. And even me just feeling into this and feeling like, wow, imagine if all women would remember that, like how different our world would be, right? And how much depth and magic and how vital this work is.
Yes. And it is I feel like when we listen to it, and I do my best to consistently, you know, when I'm working with women and even men, because this is also a remembrance for men, for the masculine. But when I say it, it sounds so, you know, it's like, yes, of course. And I say, yeah, I'm not saying anything that you don't already know. It's just I'm naming it. So then it you know, it kind of becomes alive. But then it's like this dream seed that then needs to be cultivated, right? And that's the how. Like then we've got to step into it, and that's mostly where I feel that it's not so much that women don't remember this. It's more that we don't have the confidence or the conviction that it takes to really step into it and to wield that power. Because again, it's a superpower, and like any superpower, when you first come into it, it's gonna be messy, right? And so you're gonna burn the wrong bridge and the person, and so it requires a constant practice, a devotional reverence development, in order to hold that power in a way that is life-giving. Because that's the aspect of the womb shamanism, is that because the womb does not have morality, you know, it's not like, I'm going to be a good person, I'm going to be a good womb today, or I'm going to be a bad womb, you know. It doesn't hold that. So that is just raw power. And so when we step into that, the voltage and what it comes with, it's really a big energy and big frequency for our vessels. And so the work is to develop the vessel in order to be able to anchor that kind of power and to wield it, you know, over time, over consistency. And then that's when we're able to learn how to direct that power with intent, in a way that it can create worlds that are life-giving, that are regenerative, versus worlds that perhaps are more in the shadow worlds of it, because that is also in a capacity that it has. So
Wow. Yeah, this I'm really feeling again the same, such resonance and such clarity on how you're translating this frequency that is so vast, and you're bringing it into form through your words. And I can really feel the truth in that, and especially in that cultivation of the womb space, right? And like, I can maybe share a little bit from me, and then you can share also how does this look like. And I think we have, like, we are on a similar journey of, like, I feel like one of the deep parts of the cultivation is really the somatic intelligence of the body, and letting it feel like that. A lot of the suppressed things also that we hold there as women, right? Maybe like the rage or the anger and the grief, that I know you do so much work with this, and letting this energy move, so the chalice can be, we can look through it through a clearer mirror again. So we can actually then not be in these shadow realms and create from that. right? Because I think we always create from the womb, but it's like, what lens are we creating from?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, and I see it as like these filters, right, that we have through conditioning, through passed down, intergenerational misunderstandings of certain things or fears. And as in the collective feminine body, we hold a lot of pain, a lot of trauma around what's happened to the feminine body over thousands of years, the suppression, the trying to shut down, cut off, burn away the medicine, that is naturally our greatest gift. And so when we start to cultivate the womb, we've got to meet these spaces, because this is where we open the doors that have been closed down to our memory. And at first, when you open that, there's a level of containment that's needed to be able to open those doorways and to really to meet the pain, meet the grief, meet the disappointments, meet the ancestral dead dreams, all of these things, and to be able to step into it, not just close the door and run away, but to actually take a moment and to just be present with it and allow then for that same intelligence to come through. And how can I move this through my system in a way that is almost like, I know you're familiar with this, is because it is a poison path in many ways of, the right, just the dosage is everything, right? Like our great teacher always says, shout out to beautiful Saren. But that aspect of poison, because it is it's a darkness that we've got to meet, and then allow that to move through us in a way that it finds the resolution on its own. And in that, we are shape-shifting our nervous system, we're shape-shifting the way our vessel is holding it, and so we can bring it to the light. And I think that that's really important, because I think that that's where we get a little bit addicted to the shadow work, or to certain things, right? Anything can be an addiction. Yet I feel that when we have the right guidance and the right container, then what it creates is this ability to be with something that we didn't even imagine we could be with. And as we allow it, presence it, and we move it through, what it does, it begins to refine on its own. Not even anything we have to do. It's just allowing the process of it to refine, and so that it can get to its gold form. So this is alchemy. We're speaking of the alchemical process of turning the raw material, right, or that into gold. And that is a process, and a medicinal process for the womb. And that we have that access, and we have these incredible superpowers that are still dormant, and through that cultivation, again, like you said, through the somatic practices and presencing as a child would, like, how do you hold something that is so tender and is so ancient, and then you meet it with your own distortions and filters, and again, but that's where we get to really meet what self-love is, and then evolve that into, it's not just self-love of me having, salt baths and even, self-love in the sense of like selfishness, because that is a necessary journey as well. But to keep evolving that until then it becomes that gold that is what we are here to share, and to give to the world.
So beautiful, this, what I'm feeling, it's the womb alchemy. And the womb alchemist, it's really like the womb shamaness is also the womb alchemist. And I would love to speak a little bit more about the another aspect of it, which is the ancestral lineages and working with our magical allies and with the spirits, because I know you were deep apprentice with ish cacao and with tobacco and with the Mexican lineage and also other lineages. So I would also like to weave that in, right? Because like I think that in essence, like the shamaness, it's really that, like she works with the different realms and the seen and the unseen and the spirit and the matter. And I think in our world, we are very often it's cut. You have like people that are in the somatic realm and they do a lot of work with like emotions and so on, but they don't look at this part. Or you have the like more shamanic realm that work a lot on the different realms, but they don't work with the emotion. And I feel like the womb shamaness, it brings it together, right? That's really like very embodied, very human. And I think both are so important, right?
Yes.
And
absolutely.
And we were just talking earlier about how we are such shapeshifters as women.
Yes.
Like we can be so many things in one day, right?
Absolutely. And that's the beauty, that's the magic of also that, you know, being able to embrace our creative essence in that way. Because again, I think in this inverted reality that we're in, you've got to pick a lane. You've got to stick to this. And that's never truly resonated for me. And now I'm more and more, it's refining on its own, and it's becoming like what the essence of my expression is, without me picking a lane, you know. And so and it is so important, because again, that's we are such a full spectrum of different flavors, colors. You know, when somebody says, "What's your favorite color?" I say, "Well, it depends what day you ask me," because
that's so true, right? It's
yes,
like,
but it's, I know I have to pick a color and I have to live by that color, and and in some ways, you know, there's beauty in the reductionist aspect of life. There is beauty for, you know, that aspect, but there is also beauty in knowing that it is beyond that. The reductionist aspect of the world doesn't really describe or can't articulate the essence of the full spectrum of a woman, or the full spectrum of our creativity. And so yes, and thank you for bringing in the thread of the ancestors, because we cannot talk about womb and not talk about ancestors, right? And again, I think that this is an aspect of the womb, the womb shamanist path, is the return home, you know. And this is really important because it's been so powerful for me that when I came into the womb work, I did not come to it through my lineage, in my immediate lineage, right? I actually came in through European lineages. And so when I came into my apprenticeship and I was learning, and it was all beautiful and opening me up, and this beautiful remembrance. And then at some point, there was an aspect of it that's like, okay, these are all beautiful stories, reference points, but where is that, you know? And I was through the Magdalene path, right? And the Magdalene brought me, and she said, where is the Magdalene of the Americas? You already know the Magdalene of France. You met the European Magdalene, and even in the States, you know how they speak of the Magdalene. But where is the Magdalene of the Americas? And it sent me on a journey. And I remember that at that time we were closing out a 21-day Magdalene journey. I don't know if you remember those through the Womb Awakening. And we were closing it out, and I happened to close it out, and I was in Mayan lands. So I was in Mexico. And when it closed, it was sort of this, it sent me on a journey. And my pilgrimage into Mexico was really finding where this Magdalene frequency essence was. And that took me down, you know, different paths of being with teachers, and, you know, here and there, and it was really beautiful. But what it came down to is that sometimes where we enter the journey, it's the entrance. And when we keep walking it, the ancestors inevitably will want to come through, because it's a return home. And so that's when our ancestors truly receive us, and we can receive them. because although the journey was incredible and amazing, until I felt the frequency and the essence of my ancestors, of my motherland, the Mexica, the Nahuales, the Huicholes, until I felt that it was really like another layer of that medicine woman activated, was accessible. And so that journey has been so incredible. And at that time too, I could really feel the land of Mexico, well, we call Mexico now, how so many medicine women were taken from their womb space and their medicine, and through the Inquisition and through all of these different things that happened, and that was now returning, that this consciousness was now returning. And that was so powerful, because ever since that time, I've been on this, deepening journey with that. And it's now brought me full circle to understand that whilst some of our lineages are limited through what has been, as an example, I meet a lot of medicine carriers, and there's a limitation in them that I sense in regards to life and what is the possibility, the potential, the incredible vast universe that is in our womb, right? That we can create the potential is incredible. And they're disconnected from that essence and from that part of it. And then I meet very quantum people that are very like, oh my God, all the possibilities, all the potentials, but there's no rooted groundedness. There's no ability to truly ground it. And I feel that that's what our ancestors do. They give us the grounding power to bring through all that beautiful potential, dreams, visions, imagination that we have, but they've got to come together. And I really believe that that's what we are doing. A lot of us are bridges. We are bridging the ancestral medicine with this new, innovative, fresh, unknown mystery that we are at the precipice of. And now, not even at the precipice, we already went over the precipice, right? But all these things that are dissolving are allowing for new creations to come through, for new architecting in new ways, not the old ways, but then still bringing through the essence of the old medicine, because that is so important, right? And this is where the lineage of the tabaqueras comes in, because tabaqueras, it's returning to the women, because it's been held by the men for so long that now, like the tobacco, Miss Nicotinia, she is returning to the hands of women. And that same thing is happening. Ish Cacao, right? She's like dancing in the new spaces now, where she's been held in a very contained space by these rigid, passed down sort of ways that it's been distorted, but necessary in order for it to come to today. But I believe that it's now for us women who feel this call to really reclaim, to step in and say, okay, I become available to receive this beautiful gift, because these gifts of the ancestors allow us the tools and the strength, the resilience, the backbone to bring through what we are here to create. Otherwise, we collapse under the weight of what wants to come through, because we don't have this, and we have all these little warrior past, medicine that's like, let's do this, I'm ready, let's go, and sometimes so intense, right? But so that's why I really believe that it's so important to always return to the motherland and to know what is the medicine of your motherland, because there is something there for you, even when all these other medicine paths resonate. Because again, they may be a way, it's a journey. So sometimes we've got to go here to open something and become available for what we're going to receive here and what we're going to receive here. And a lot of times we have a whole journey in order to come back home and receive the medicine, to be available for the medicine. And then you have this realization like, oh my gosh, I went all around the world to come back home, But that's the whole essence of the every ending is the beginning, every beginning is the ending, right? Because the full circle is coming to that. So that's my experience of my ancestors. Yes.
Just in a nutshell.
In a nutshell, and I love it.
Yeah, and I feel like that what you shared, that was so beautiful and resonant with the how we can see all the people or many of the people that are carrying the medicine, but there is this rigidity around it. And I actually feel that our ancestors and the ancient medicine women and priestesses and elders, like the ones that were really sitting as the oracles and the wisdom holders, they really wanted us to hold the lineage and become our unique expression of that, right? And like move with the world, be part of evolution, and like let it grow in its own beauty. And like I think they would be cheering us on for doing that. And how can we evolve it, and how can we make it different while holding the sacred thread and the sacred essence of the truth, and apprenticing with that, and meeting the medicine and what it is that we need to meet, and then birthing it into our unique colors, right?
Yes.
And expression. And I think that's something that we're really being called forward, but then also truly honoring the lineage and the ancestral, because we can see the other side also, where someone just sees something on YouTube and then they like whatever create a whole channel and retreats, and people come out ungrounded, and we have all the different spectrums happening. And I think again it's like this merging, and I feel like just even in this conversation, what I'm feeling like this merging of the both realms, it's so important. And as you said, we are these bridges, and it's like bringing the both together and finding the equilibrium in the dance.
Absolutely. And that's I love that you're saying that, because I feel that there are the medicine people that carry it, like how you mentioned, like very strict and very or very what word did you use? Rigid. Very rigid. Yeah. And I can understand why, because there is but it is also coming from fear, because it's a fear that it's going to be taken and it's going to be lost, and it's going to be misinterpreted and all these different things. And I think that's why it is so important that we do develop the reverence and the devotion, because it becomes your own. You've got to become self-accountable, right? Because if you're going to you're going to receive something and then you're going to innovate it, then if you don't have that reverence and that devotion, it's not going to keep its vitality flowing, right? And that's what sometimes our minds are so limited inside of, as humans, we're so silly sometimes, right? That's like, oh, of course I can go and do this, or no, I can never do this. Like, we have all these different stories that we're constantly plagued with. But I feel that when you do decide, you make the decision to really take the path that is congruent with your ancestors, that is congruent with the earth, that is congruent with your power to create, then the path itself refines you. The path itself informs you. And when you get out of kind of like, is that an integrity? You hear it. But if you're available to listen, if you're available to, you can make mistakes, right? But those same mistakes are portals to a deeper congruence, to a deeper integrity. And so it begins to shape and mold you in a way that you do become something different than what the ancestors originally held. You are your own expression of it, but it still carries their frequency and the signature of the essence of the medicine. Because the medicine also evolves. It can be held in certain ways because that's a time, there was a time coded space where it had to be held in that way. But as it evolves, it evolves as well. So sometimes when we're looking at the old ways, and I encounter this quite a bit, I wish we could go back to, when the villages, and I wish we could go back. And that wishing is such a waste of energy and life force, because it's not that it's not possible. It's more so that it's asking to be innovated into what is now. So it's almost like you don't just go back. You have that vision, but then you bring in all the elements that have shaped you, all the elements that you've learned, all the skills, your skill set. And now you can create something that's even grander than what your ancestors could dream of, because they couldn't imagine what we're living, right? Most of them. And just for us, as we are building this bridge, we don't see what's across yet, because we're building it as we go. We're laying the bricks. We're having as we are going. So somebody has to build the bridge and get there and be like, oh, okay, this is what's over here. But it's so important to honor the medicine of the ancestors, and to really wield within ourselves the reverence and the devotion for what has been, but we are also what we are becoming, because that's the true power. The true power, for me, I say this, because this is so true for me, is that when I tune into my power, quote unquote, my power, which, could be another podcast. But when I tune into that, what I sense is that I am not powerful because of what I have been, or what I've been, or what I've built. I am powerful because of what I'm becoming, because what I am creating, because of what I am shaping now. And so it's like we're bringing the gifts, the beauty, the wisdom, the knowledge, but at some point in our Gnostic path, in our Gnostic channel, it takes a new shape. It takes a new form. We add our frequency signature to it as it continues to then pass down to, our beautiful children, or the next generation, and they keep it flowing. But every time it gets to that, it changes and it shapes and it shifts. And so that's, for me, what is important, rather than being like, here's this box, let me pass it down to you. Okay, I'm gonna hold it. Here's the box again, and here's the box, and I don't think that that's living wisdom. I think that is, it's encapsulated, but there's an evolution that is necessary for it to grow and to weave, and to, that perennial wisdom that can live throughout the ages and timelines and whatever is out there.
Well, the way I was just seeing it as you're sharing, I saw it like this garden or a painting, like a garden that someone had built and planted all the beautiful flowers, and the flowers have taken roots and they keep growing, and then more people come and they water the flowers and they add their own flowers, and therefore the garden just keeps expanding and going like more and more beautiful, and they all... It's like the next generation takes the garden, and maybe there's a whole new idea that what they want to add to it. But then there's like the flowers, the tree that has been there since hundreds of years, that is deeply revered and honored.
Yes,
but also the other. So I just kind of saw that, and I think that's like a beautiful vision, analogy. And I also thank you also for bringing in that, or highlighting the part of, yes, it's also so important, and there's a reason why maybe sometimes there can be a rigidity, and it's so important to honor that. And I do want to honor like all the medicine people that carry, and that hold that, and maybe there's a perfection in them holding it in that way,
absolutely,
so that we can still learn it, and then that all the parts are available.
Absolutely, yes, because if you think about that in that way, it's like some of us forgot, and we were not given this wisdom because it was dangerous, but some held it and protected it and have been protecting it for who knows how many years and decades and hundreds of years. And so now when we open these things, we can't come at it like a child and just be like, well, what's in this box? Let me take it. Oh, I like this, I like that, I like this, like now let me go show it to my friends, but more so again, in that reverence and devotion of like, wow, these are treasures. Now, how will I increase the treasury inside of this, right? And it's so beautiful. I love the image. I don't know if you've been to the cathedral de Nuestra Sagrada Familia in Spain. Have you been there?
Where is
like
it?
It's oh my gosh, my brain is so offline right now. Well, it's this cathedral that it's been it's a cathedral or basilica, but it's been, every generation has different, who's been designing aspects of it, architecting it, and so you have, it's an unfinished, ongoing project. So and it's been, I don't even know how many decades that someone comes in and they shape it a certain way, and then another one comes in, and then you can see it when you see it, you can see the different shapes it has taken over the decades and over time. And I love that, because again, I think that is the true the beauty of it, is that we can contribute to something great and leave and have our signature there, but then it evolves into something else, and it informs the next, and it in a very life-giving way. So
I love how we are crystallizing this here right now. Like this is, because I feel this is actually so important. Like this is such an important conversation, and when you were just saying this is the true, and for some reason I felt you're going to say this is the true path of the Magdalene.
Yeah,
because she was there, and it is, because I feel like that, and she is, that's what she is, and that's what she wants, and how she wants to express herself, like through all of us, and
each of us,
each of us, and I would also love to elaborate a little bit on when we speak about the medicine or passing the medicine, because some people may be like, well, what do you mean? What does it mean to you?
Yes. So why don't you tell, how about I'm going to turn the mic back to you. Okay. So, what does it mean to you?
Okay. Well, for me, it means it's accumulation of different things, but it can be the medicine, and literally in the form of, maybe if we work with some plants, or the spirits of the plants and what they teach us, and if we work with the plants by themselves, or we work with the plants in connection to the lineage where they come from, or rather more the holders, the people who are holding the plants and the medicine. So I think that is like one of the thing, but I also feel it's like a transmission of a wisdom, right? Something that we received, or something that we learned somewhere, and then maybe translating it into what we're speaking about, of like, someone can hear something and then they can be like, oh, okay, and then they just make it into something without actually having sat with it long enough to really understand what it means, like from their body, and also without actually having gone into the lineage of it, because I feel like medicine is always connected to lineage, so it's kind of like a wisdom transmission coming from a path, from a lineage, from
absolutely
the elders.
Yes. And it's when we say medicine, that it's important to know that when we're saying medicine, it's not a magic pill, it's not a quick fix. So I think that's really important, because some people think it's a quick fix. Let me just take that's something different.
Or not even something that's like actually just taken.
Yes.
It's an energy.
And then, so there's the very physical aspect of medicine, which is the plants, there's these physical expressions of medicine. And also, I think that the really important thing to know, especially when you're walking this path, right? I mean, people who are watching this podcast probably been walking on it. They're in their journey, and it's an energetic signature that we are really receiving. So we all have our own vibration frequency, our geometry. Right? Each of us, just like we have our fingerprint, like we all have different fingerprints for a reason. And so I really believe that if we have a fingerprint in the physical world, we also have a soul print, right? And the energetic, at an energetic level. So when I share something, although it could be the same plant or the same thing that somebody else is sharing. When I receive that, the information of the plant, the medicine, and I bring it through my own container expression or whatever I've created, the way you're receiving it now, it's coming through my channel or my filter, right? And so that's why it is important who you sit with. It is important to have discernment. It is important all this, because there is an aspect of that let's say chamomile, just to keep it, friendly, but let's say chamomile. I am serving chamomile, or this beautiful tea that you made for us today. It's not just the vibration of the chamomile, or the where it was grown, who it was planted and tended by, who it was harvested from. It's coming in, and then now I'm receiving it, and I am giving it another little shift in vibration, because now I am the one that is passing it on to you, right? And so when you receive that's where I think that our true medicine is energetic, and it does come down to being able to become a vessel for anything that comes through you to become a blessing for someone else. And that's that aspect that's like the cultivation of the vessel, the cultivation of the awareness. Because when we see things that way, when I receive something, I have reverence and devotion for what it's already taken to come to me or to be here. And then now I want to tend to it in a way and share it in a way that is going to amplify its medicine. So, and that's my hands, that's my being. But if I am just like taking it from there and then just here giving it to you, it's almost like it's no longer infused and shaped by your own signature, your own energetic signature and soul print, which is what we each are. We are each a node of frequency, of electricity, of codes that allow something to be amplified into a way that it can really support somebody else, or can become a gift into the world. And that's why we can take things and distort them, and they can become poison. And we can take things and we can take poison and then it becomes medicine. And so it's, again, we are like this alchemical cauldron of when we have that awareness, then we can take things and they don't have to leave their essence and where they've come from or what they've been, but now we get to amplify that, and then we get to share it and pass it on. That's why I love sharing, tobacco and ish cacao, because again, it's like she has this frequency and this form and this way that when she comes to me, she's in this space, and so when I share it, when I get to share, it's like, this is what's coming through, and this is but it's being shaped by how I speak of her, by the reverence or the devotion that I lack or cultivate. And so then someone can receive it in a way that, wow, this is incredible, blissful thing, just exactly what I needed. And then someone can say, oh, I don't like this at all, and they're just not ready for it. And it's not personal, because I am becoming and cultivating a vessel to be able to bring forth what I'm guided to. And I don't have a personal agenda inside of how people receive it, but rather just a self-accountability, knowing that as I am in integrity, as I am in reverence, as I am in devotion, then the medicine naturally does what it needs to do, and I can trust it. It's not me. It's not up to me.
And I love that part on how you bring your unique signature in, and I can really see that in general, and also just speaking to you right now, like I can see that on how, like when I've worked with Ish Cacao with you or through your space, and how different it is through others, and how like with yours I really feel it's like this beautiful mother, and she's like nourishing, but also like this abundance
Yes.
frequency,
Oh,
you know.
yes.
Not everyone teaches
She's
it like
very
that.
lush.
Yeah, she is. And I feel
Yeah.
like, but it's such a reflection of you also, right? And I was just feeling I would love to at some point work with Lady Nicotinia,
Oh,
with
yes.
you.
Yeah. She's a bit more intense.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
I can
definitely
handle it.
they're very beautiful allies, you know,
Yeah.
because they hold different threads and that are again allies for our ability to create in the world. And I think
Yeah.
that is such like it is when I tune into that, it's like I cannot help but like my heart melts and I just feel this deep reverence, like I want to be at their feet and just because it's so benevolent and it's such a frequency of like, what can I do to support you in what you need to bring through? Because it's so important for the world that you get to create and be in your highest and best expression. So how can I support you? You know, and they're so ready to just give of their bodies so that we can cultivate that and we can refine our ability to receive, because that's what life is. What are we available for? What are we available to receive? We're not necessarily, you know, doing, taking, all of these things are they're expressions of what we're creating. But I really feel that at the core of it, in order, like our, you know, there's so many ways of manifesting that are taught and all these things, you know, but I feel for me, what feels so alive and feels so resonant is that the more that I am able to receive, then the more that naturally just gets created as a mirror of what I am internally living. And so that I feel that Ish Cacao is like, she just loves the lightness, the dance, the, you know, sharing, the community, like let's party, let's have this, you know, and share. She's such a sharer. And where I feel like, you know, I've come across people that are in a way keeping her in this, you know, it feels like she's like a trapped, you know, in this thing. She's like, I just want to dance and share. And again, she touches our heart and she opens our heart and she softens us. And when we've missed that mother essence as well, she brings her chocolate. She brings her, you know, that. And she says, it's okay. You can rest on my lap. You can rest here. Here's some chocolate until you feel better, you know, and then we get to dance again, you know, and
that's why we love chocolate so
yes.
much, like all of us,
Who
right? I mean, it's so true.
Yes.
I mean, it is so true. Yeah.
And she's so also linked, you know, with the Black Madonna, you know, and so
yeah, and
like
I love that
working together, that there are these chocolate mothers who are just holding us in our full childishness and childlikeness, you know, and they tend to both. So I love them so much because of that. They're and sometimes they do have to be like, you know, a little, hey, that's a little out of line. Let's you know, let's check yourself.
Yeah, totally.
Check yourself. And that's okay too, because again, that's what allows us to develop that what we are growing into, you know, which for me, my vision of it is I really feel my inner elder, you know, and who I want that to show up for my nieces, for, you know, the children, that they can come to me and feel these different textures and frequencies. And as I grow this elder and I nurture this elder within me, it keeps me in line of what is the vision, what is the purpose, you know, beyond myself, beyond my little view and desires of self. It's now it grows, you know. It's like, no, what are we working towards 20 years from now, 30 years from now? And that is there, and it's informing who I am today, for sure. So not only do we source from ancestral in the past sense, but also we are the ancestor of the future, and we can tune into our future as well to how we're being shaped today. And ultimately,
yeah, that makes so much sense.
Yes,
it's like we are our future ancestors, and we bring that in. And of course, because we're always merging all the all the different aspects and the bridging again.
Yes.
Here it is again, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and I love the plant spirits and how they come to support us as allies, and they want to be there for us. And I also feel they love to experience themselves through us.
Absolutely.
Right? And and through the space we bring forth, and through the people. And I just think they're like our friends, they really, and our friends, and sometimes our mentors, and sometimes they kick our ass, of course.
Yes.
But that's so beautiful that we actually can have that. And I would love to bring, as we were speaking, because I think these are the beautiful frequencies to move into this next part of the conversation of so we're speaking about the cacao and the joy, and I know Lady Nicotinia or some other plants that are more into the deeper descent work, or into the
Yes.
fast alignment kick ass.
Yes.
And I would love to, because before this recording we were speaking about the shamanic descent and the womb descent, and how many of us who are on this part, especially women, and doing this womb work, how very often we can kind of stay in that descending energy, and bringing again the bridging, and we can stay in the descension and maybe even become identified with this and be like, oh my god, that's so intense, and we're always doing the inner work and always doing the inner healing, and then at some point it's like we're gonna die and we're still doing the inner work because it's never ending, right?
Healing. Yes.
And so we were speaking about this, and we want to speak a little bit more about this and the evolution of where we're also moving into this year and the energy. So I want to open that. I want to move into this bit.
Let's explore that.
Because I definitely wanted to have that.
I feel, I think that so many of us are in different points of our journey, right? So I think that's important to acknowledge to start with.
Yes.
And then the duality of some have been more in the light, per se, in this very up, and have not addressed the descent or the lower realms. And then some of us who like intensity for some reasons, then we go into the descent, and we go into the shadow worlds, and we go into the underworld, and which is a necessary part and initiation of the journey and of the remembrance, right? And Nana teaches that, right? You leave everything at each gate, you surrender it, right? And to go into your rebirth. And that's necessary, absolutely. And so many of us are in that stage. And I also feel that there's so many women who we've been there for so long. And yes, we begin to get comfortable in it. So it's almost
and we want to hide there.
Yes,
it's almost like, okay,
I don't want to go. It's too blinding out there.
Yeah.
It's too stimulating out there.
Because the next step would actually be then to share this medicine with the world, right? And actually, I'm like,
come back to the world.
Yes.
Yeah. Right. So that's the descent. You go in, but you come back, and the way that you come back transformed, and now you have a different medicine that you're sharing. I feel that now, it's very different than when I started my journey, because I feel that for me it was really necessary to just leave the world behind and go, 1,000% in. That's how I typically like to do things.
Yes.
Just going all in.
Same here.
And now I really do see that it's not so necessary as I took my journey. I feel that now we can be in both worlds and still create and still be and show up, rather than abandoning and leaving, right? Kind of like when, leaving the world behind and going to meditate for 10 years on a mountain, there's a space for that. But I think that right now what we're in, it's accelerated so much of that. So us going something that's taken us 10 years to come to, I am seeing women 2 years, 1 year, they're already having these, because again, the whole point of us doing the work is that it makes it easier, faster, more accessible for the next generation, right? So I'm really grateful for that, because I do think that that is amazing. And what took me 10 years probably took another woman who came before me 20, 30, 40 years,
Totally.
right?
Yeah.
And so honoring that, and honoring that now, it's so exciting for me to see that it's like, okay, now we go into descent, but then it brings you back up transformed in a different way, and there's different challenges that I didn't have to navigate with that journey. But I think that now too, many of us who have been in that, we are hiding, we are, and we create all kinds of beautiful stories about why, oh, it's not this, it's not ready, it's not, and it's like never ready, never right, never perfect, And so I do feel that
but we need to be more. We need to be like better. We need to be more
priestess,
more embodied. We need to know more.
I need to go and find another teacher.
I have that so much, and I've been doing this for over like 10, 13 years.
Yes.
And I'm like, I don't
right.
know anything.
So, and at what point do you actually acknowledge that I've been refining this? So now let me sit with my, in my channel, and what is here, what is wanting to be born here, and then let me trust it by creating it, and now learning through creation, because I think that this is the next step.
I love that.
It's that now it's not about you going to the cave and you going to it's about you putting it out in the world, and having the medicine of exposure, and having that, because again, like I said, when we come out of the dark, it's like, it's blinding, it's like when you've been in the dark for a long time and then you're exposed to sunlight, it's this terrifying, in a way, experience. But then that's what is the next level of cultivating that now I get to create, and through my creation I am receiving the lessons, I am receiving the guidance, I'm receiving the wisdom, rather than hoarding it. Because what happens is that then we get creatively constipated, and so now our creative channel is like, you're not moving the things, but then we're still, what am I going to create, what am I going to do, how am I going to do this, how am I going to, so it's almost like the challenge then becomes, can you put it out, imperfect as it is, so that then that is what's teaching you. But we have this false illusion that everyone's gonna love it, everyone's gonna sign up, everyone's gonna just be like, wow, amazing, I've been waiting for this my whole life. But that means that I am still taking these things personal, which are not, that's that kind of egoic self of, if my creation isn't good, then I am not good.
Yeah.
And as a mom, I know you don't have children yet, but maybe some of you out there have children, because you'll relate to this. When we see our kids in that way, we become that mother that then lives through our child, right? So the expectations and everything. So now I'm like, if my child is not good, then I am not good. If my child does this, then that means this about my parenting, which is an illusion in parenting. It's like, you are you, and then you guide, and you're a guardian for this child, but ultimately that child has its own destiny in the world. And the same thing is with our creations, but we don't look at them like that, right? So it's like, what wants to be created, and within that, it has its own destiny out in the world. Your job is to tend it, to learn, to shape, to get creative, with the ways it's growing. And I think that's this where we are today for many of us, at least for a lot of the women I work with, is that this is the challenge now. Can I bring it to the world even when I don't think I'm ready?
And even if it's messy.
Yes.
And it's
and
not
again,
perfect.
And that's where
like
Lady Coutinho comes in, right? and that's where these allies come in. Like some days I may need to sit with Ish Cacao and just really feel like, oh, I feel the rejection, I feel the this, I feel the that.
Totally.
Can I be with this tenderness of mine, but still now, again, continue.
And allowing ourselves for it to be messy, right? And being
Yes.
like, okay, I put it out, it's maybe not perfect, and Totally, that part, I mean, that age-old story of the rejection and the identification with the thing and taking
Yes.
it personal. I mean, I think
Yeah.
we all journey through that. And I speak to so many women, like including yourself right now, and I look at you and I look at many of them and I'm like, wow, they do amazing. They're like really successful in their work and putting it out there, and yet they have their own story with that,
Absolutely.
and I think it's so important for anyone to acknowledge. And it's like, and I loved what you said about our creations have their own life and their own destiny, and maybe some of them were not meant to be flourishing, or maybe not in that moment of time. Or maybe they needed to be reimagined in a new way.
Yes.
And so I love that.
And that's where the grief comes in.
Yeah.
The grief work, right?
Yes.
Like even tying that in. And again,
then we can bring our tools
the
back
allyships,
in.
exactly.
Yeah.
Because it's the same thing as like, sometimes our pregnancies do not go full term. Sometimes, we have miscarriages, we have abortions, we have these things, and they still need they were still creative essence, and they still, they have their grief process. And the same thing with our creations. Like we put it out there and it didn't, have its full lifespan or whatever it is, and there's grief. Okay, that's okay. This is part of creation. Now imagine if we got pregnant and had a miscarriage and then didn't try again, or didn't do again, or didn't seek the wellness for it to flourish. It's the same thing, right? But we identify so much with our smallness that then we're like, something's wrong with me, not necessarily with the process. Like, how can I refine the process is the better question than oh my gosh, now I've got to go and do this and I'm not ready, and you're protecting yourself from seeing that it's not even about you.
Yeah, I was just thinking that, like, it's about, actually at the end of the day, it's actually not really that much about us, right? And about trusting that it's going to be the way that it is,
and that it's teaching us. It's teaching us because we are forever a student.
Yeah.
Right? So just like we go to teachers, we are also our own teacher. We have our own inner teacher. And that's our creations show us, okay,
totally,
I can refine here. I can shift this here. So it's really, I feel when you come into relationship with the world in this way, and what you create and the work and all of these things, it is such a great privilege to me, privilege and blessing to be able to be on this path. Like, first, I always have like this, like, because we take it for granted. We take for granted that we are in a position, in a posture in this time and age where we get to really dive into our creative expression. This was not possible, still is impossible for so many women around the world. And yet somehow, we are positioned in this way. And so for me, that already itself is so much. Like, life is already giving us so much. Our creative intelligence has already been so generous. And for me to now be like, that didn't work. I just don't want it. I just see my niece, like, she's like, no. And I'm just like, do you not see where you are, child? Like, this is, but again, we do that, right? And so that this is the part of where I feel the flourishing of our womanness, like our
moving
true,
also from the maiden into
the queen
that
maiden
energy,
princess energy, to like this queen matriarch woman, that is like knows how to hold the things like a woman, not like a child, and I often say that about grief. It's like learning to hold grief not like a child, but as a woman, to be with the grief, because that's the truth. And so, yes, I am just so, I feel so grateful to have the privilege, and then inside of that privilege, also understanding the responsibility that now comes with that, right? And to create, to not go in hiding and hoard, because this privilege is a wealth. It's an inner wealth that has been passed down, and that women along my line did the work gave their lives to, you know, in order for me to receive this incredible gift and birthright, and to now see it as this inner wealth. Now, how do I bring this inner wealth into an outer expression so that I can share it with the world? Because if I keep it all to myself, I'm going to hoard it, and I'm going to, you know, and it's just going to be depressing. It's going to be heavy to carry, and I'm going to isolate. Oh, people want to steal it. Oh, people want to take it, you know, but if I can now, oh, how do I direct this? How do I give it more life? How do I shape it in a way where it just keeps rippling out? And I think that this is what we're in, you know. And so to take it personal, to say like, oh, somebody commented this, or, you know, or, oh, the people didn't sign up, that's okay. It's not personal. We are here to create. And when I exercise my right to create, I bring forth a gift. I bring forth, and I am feeding a reality and a world in which I want to participate, and I want to be alive, and I want to be responsible in, rather than I just keep it, hide, you know, make 1,000 stories, keep them going, loop around and loop around and loop around the same thing. You know, I can't forgive this, can't forgive, and that has its process. But the true healing comes when it becomes an expression in the world, because that's when it starts to shape, to take a different form. And for so many of us, the addiction, and I could tell you this because I have stories that still, you know, like will show up, and now I'm like, that's okay, you want to play today, that's fine, go ahead, play, do your tantrum, you know, and then we're gonna move on, you know, because again, there are these conditioning, and sometimes conditioning has so many layers. It becomes more subtle, you know, until eventually it will shift and it will disintegrate. Because when we keep practicing a new way, when we keep restructuring our energy in a new way, then it has no choice. It is inevitable that it will transform and it will shift. And so again, that disciplined devotion. Yes, that disciplined devotion.
Yeah.
Because that is, and I always say that we've got to learn discipline, which then turns into devotion. Because at first we don't want to do the things. We don't want to show up for them. You know, we're caught up in our own human desires of like, I don't feel like it. I feel this, I feel that. And that's the waters of our body. So
we
there
have
is
to
a
show
mastery.
up then eventually. We
Yes.
have to, and then it turns into this discipline.
Absolutely, and then it's a devotion.
And then it turns into the
devotion.
Exactly. Yeah. And I feel like for me, I always say my creations, my work, my body of work has been one of my greatest initiators and teachers. You know, before I really put myself out there were so many things that I was meeting on that journey that I didn't even know, you know, and it's like so comfortable to just be like,
because it's easier not to try, right? Like you can't fail.
You can't fail. And
so then you're like, oh, it's fine. It'll be. I'll get to it. I'll get to it. And it's just sitting there.
I don't need to do it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Absolutely.
And I also would love to speak about, or just bring this pattern of, because we're speaking, it's funny how we were actually talking about the descent and then the ascent and coming out, but then it also kind of brought the descent in again of like all the stuff that you're meeting on the journey, right?
Yes.
And another aspect that I have also been just kind of bringing in more into my life, and actually 2026, my word has been, an intention has been pleasure. And beautiful. Really being like, I can grow through pleasure. I can just, like, by me having fun or having the best time and just taking it easy and not taking it too serious also, you know, the things we just spoke about, and just bringing in this pleasure, and then I can grow to that, and I can create from that, and I can, and all the things that sometimes we feel like we need to go so deep and down and dark, and which again, as you said, is so important, has its place, like without that you just become disassociated, ungrounded, and the ego can so easily take over. But like also remembering, okay, maybe I can just like have a good time.
Right.
Maybe I can just have fun now.
Yes.
Whoa. You know, like, what's going on?
It is so funny because I think that is like, so I think in my experience, I am someone who, like I said, I'll go 1,000% in, right? So when I am studying something, I'm like, I want no other distractions. This is what I'm committed to. This is what I'm doing. And so on the way of my own spiritual journey, it's been really boring, you know, because I don't get to participate in a lot of the things. Like people were like in festivals and people were like getting in trouble in ways, you know. I was never called to that, you know, because I'm like, no, this is my path. This is what I'm doing. And, you know, and I feel like now that I've navigated and I've gotten to a certain space within myself where I have a discernment, now I engage some of those things, you know, that back then I would have totally been like, oh my gosh, what are they doing? And what is this? And you know, and now I can be present for it and really discern like the beauty and the pleasure and the lightness in it and not take the whole thing on, you know. And I think that is so important because that starts to develop this thing that we've got to be in the world with our creations in the same way that we were in our path. So like it's got to be this rigidity or this discipline and this and I think that's the magic of woman. That's the magic in our prosperity, is that we actually can create so much more and so much more efficiently when we are in that lightness, when we are in that pleasure. You know, when we are, I create incredible, when I am getting massages every day, you know, and I am having my tea and I'm having my flower bath. It's like, this is work
so
for me.
much. Yeah, we get so much creative inspiration.
Exactly. So it is, and then there's times where it's like, okay, now it's the logistics, right? Like we've got to, but it also doesn't have to take over. And I think that is so important because then we become the sort of these. It's almost like the same thing we left in the world, that we were like, I don't want to be a part of the system in that way. Now we are in a more subtle, intelligent way, still applying in the ways that we create. You know, so we're not in the boardroom in the same ways we were, but we're still in inner, like we still have that inner boss that is like clock in, you know, and clock out at this time, and you only have this time to eat and sleep, and you know this. So I really feel that that's where the creative just really. We have the foundation, we have the grounding, we have the wisdom to know when we're overdoing it and overindulging, and when we're, you know, being a little, and we have that, so we can trust that. And now we can experience like, how easy can this be? How amazing can life get? How, you know, I ask myself every day in the morning, how much better can this get? How much more beautiful can life be? How much more beauty can find me today? You know, these things that I am consistently, you know, programming within my ability to see, and also my field of receptivity, what I am available for. And so,
and I feel like it's also this we are in this intuitive flow, right? Where when we are just open and we receive, and then eventually naturally we'll just want to create. So it's not even like we don't really need so much that inner voice, critic voice that tells us now yes, now no. And maybe there was a time where we actually needed it because as we were talking, right, you needed that discipline. But I think when you're just really in this natural flow with life, it happens in itself, and you just you need to bring it forth.
Absolutely.
Right?
And, you know, I love to see it in when you've integrated, or when we've integrated our sacred family within, then there's a space for everything, because there's a space for the child to play. There's a space for the mother. There's a space for the lover. There's a space for the father. There's a space for the provider. You know, so I feel like it becomes this aspect of like, now
I feel like that's a whole nother episode.
Yes, like who gets to be at the forefront today, right? And so that one of the things I adore my partner for, I love this so much, is that he nurtures my inner child but not from a childish way. You know, he the way that he shows up, it's almost like it inspires me to play in the way that Anabel at the river, you know, would have played a long time ago, because it's this wonder, like and I feel his grounded presence and the permission and the, you know, like the father essence of him that is there. If I get in trouble, if I get hurt, I can be like, Dad, you know, but in a gifted way. And so that it's been so amazing for my feminine body and journey to feel that. But I feel that the only reason why I'm able to receive it is because I have integrated that aspect in me, you know, and I give it the space and the value and the time. Otherwise, I wouldn't even be aware of it, right? So the integrated family is so important.
I love that. Yeah, we'll definitely bookmark this and so many other things. And it was so beautiful to have you on.
Oh my God,
and I feel like we could just
hours.
I feel like, okay, this is a whole nother portal that's just about to open, but we're having
absolutely
fun date. We're having fun lunch date.
Yes, we have a date. So you know.
We need to go.
For the next time.
Yes.
The ending is always a new beginning,
yes.
right? So the beginning of a next conversation. Thank you so much for the invitation. And
thank you so much.
I'm so glad I came, you know, across the world to sit with you
just
today.
To be here,
Be here.
She flew in from California to Bali just to be on the podcast.
Absolutely. Yes. How much better can it get?
Thank you. I feel like I need to listen to this episode again 5 times.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Oh, well, and before we continue our path, where can the community find you? We're gonna drop all the links in the description, but just
so I have a website. My name AnabelVizcarra.com. Best place to find me and to chat and explore would be on Instagram, and that's Anabel.Vizcarra. So yes, you'll put the links and everything, but lots of exciting things coming up. So if this conversation resonated for you, I look forward to hearing from you. And yeah, I always love to hear what lands for you know, those tuning in, because it helps us refine our channels and also what we offer to our communities, right? So if anything stood out for you and you were like, yes, that's me, amazing, I love it, send her a message or find me on Instagram and send me a message, and yes, we would love to hear from them.
Yes, I love that. And I always say that also, like, please contact us, message Anabel, message me at the House of Asherah on Instagram. Let us know what inspired you, what do you want to hear more of, what did you love, and thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you
and congratulations for your first video episode.
Oh my God.
Celebration. That's a whole other subject.
We're going now for a celebration lunch.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Love. Thank you.
Inspired? Follow Legacy of Love podcast and leave a 5-star review to share the magic. And if you long to return home to your body, womb's power, and feminine radiance, visit thehouseofasherah.com and follow us on Instagram at thehouseofasherah, where your turned on timeline awaits.